There he is from Leafs Nation, but more importantly, from the 2023 Drinky Show, the first star, Jay Rosehill, ladies and gentlemen. Rosie, how are you?
Still recovering from not being able to take part in this season's, but I think I'm going to make up for it here in 2025. It's on my list, that's for sure.
We love a good comeback.
What's up, boy?
Landeskog's impressive, but Rosehill back to the Drinky Show, that would also that would move us. How are you? Where are you? We need an update. It's been a while.
I am good. I am just the life of a hockey parent, as you know. I am everywhere, and I have to be everywhere all at once. But things are good, man. Leafs up 2-rip and watching some playoff hockey. It seems like it comes every other night's quick. I know you guys aren't quite in that same boat. Unfortunately, I was rooting for you fellas on the Flamers, but things are pretty solid in Leafs land.
You on vacation? What's going on here? I see the art back there. This is. Can we divulge your location, or are you in witness protection here?
No, I wish. I'm just hotel rooming it. I can't. This spring hockey, man. I don't know who took control of it. I don't know how we let the reins to the psycho hockey parents, but it is endless, and I can't be everywhere. And lacrosse is no better. And I just live vicariously through my kids now, buddy. I thought you knew that.
No, I did. I saw you in a rink last spring because I think my nephew was playing against one of your kids, and we had a chat like, how did this happen? And I'm like, you played in the NHL. How much spring did you play, Jay? And you're like, none. It didn't exist. It was crazy. We played other sports. And I'm like, and so to the other parents that never played hockey, do they ask you? Like, no. These psychos are running the asylum, aren't they?
Well, I found out firsthand. To me, it's just too much of one thing. I love it. My kids are happy. It's awesome. But it's too much of one thing. And somehow the people who only want to do that one thing are in control of everything now. And I just look around when all these schedules come out and it's like, oh, we have a Friday open. Better shove a exhibition game that'll end up winning or losing 19-1 in fucking Stettler. And I'm just like, this is wild, boys. This is too much. But I feel like I'm just speaking to the wall half the time. People love it.
We could go to the park and they could play tag and we could drink a couple beers and just hang out, guys.
Yeah, none of that.
You needed an excuse to get together.
No time for that. You got to put miles on, baby. The further you travel,
the better it is.
The better.
The further your kid's going to go for sure. Yeah, totally.
Exactly.
The greater the disappointment when he isn't the next Bedard. Yeah.
The Leafs look good right now, don't they?
I would say they look pretty good, man. We were talking this morning. They've got layers, they've got depth, they've got different positional things. Obviously, they've always kind of had the big boys with their potential of offense, and I think they've shored up a lot of other things, and those guys look more confident. They're in a pretty good place. I mean, obviously, the Sens haven't played a lot of playoff hockey lately. They've got some inexperience, and if they are lucky enough to get through the second round, they'll run into some powerhouse outfits. But there's a lot of reason people are saying this team looks different.
Okay, so we'll get to the news of the day, and then we'll get to react to the first two games a little more. Max Pacioretty skating on a third line with Max Domi. He has not played since December, if I'm correct, and a guy that has lost most of the prior two seasons, I think with back-to-back Achilles or ACLs, I forget which, but it's been a while since we saw a healthy, regular rep Max Pacioretty, but that guy was really good. Is this the right time to make a tweak, or are we reading too much into just a morning skate?
No, I think they're tweaking it. Patches is going to be in, and Nick Robertson is coming out. I don't think it's quite to December. I think it's late January is the last time Pacioretty played. And people are making a big deal about that. Like, but to me, every single player in the league has to go through an off season every single year and then ramp back up to NHL speed pretty damn fast every single year. So he's been skating. He's been staying ready. It's not December. It's been 2 months. I think with his level of experience and the veteran that he is, I think he can adjust on the fly. They needed to make a change. And the way he's been playing this year, kind of reinventing himself in a lot of ways. I think by necessity, being on a PTO, making that team on a PTO, and he's been playing a physical game. I mean, I bet you 4 of the 5 biggest hits of the season were for the Maple Leafs were Max Pacioretty. And I think he can invigorate that line. Like I said, the depth in the bottom 6 looks as good as it's ever been. And I think that Max Pacioretty is a part of that. So I think he'll make an impact tonight.
We watch. I'm not as in depth with Leaf coverage as you guys, but is the line not playing well? Like, I'm not worried about Pacioretty coming in or out. I just wonder about is it a necessity or just a,
I don't think so, but I don't think Craig Berube thinks, like, I don't think he's superstitious. I know he's not. I don't remember that from playing for him. He needs to make a a change. I mean, Nick Robertson was not very good in game 2. He took a crucial penalty, which led to a goal, which allowed them back in the game. And I think that a change for Pacioretty for Nick Robertson is going to make the team better in game 3. Simple as that. Again, it's not about superstitions. I don't think Chief's a guy who just says, I absolutely cannot change the lineup if we have won the game previously. Some coaches are like that, like completely, where it's like, Jesus, this guy's serious. Like, what? Like, you're superstitious about your smelly socks and stuff. Like, make a change if you need to make a change, and that's what Berube's doing. And again, like I said, I think Patches will make that third line a little better.
Okay, so how do we get here? When you look at what your expectations for the series are versus what happened, who stood out for you? Because if you said Matthews is going to score, it's like, yeah, we'd expect him to score. Oh, Tanev's been good defensively. We expected that. But there have been some guys that have impressed a ton. Who tops the list for you amongst the Leafs?
Well, maybe it falls in line with the expectation thing that you talk about, but I mean, Anthony Stolarz has stood on his head and been really, really solid. So I guess you could say that's expected. I expected that. I've been saying for a long time, I think he's going to start in the playoffs, be the number one and be really good. You can count on one hand how many bad performances, even maybe bad goals that he's led in. He's been so solid. People have not been paying attention to the level that I think they should have with Anthony Stolarz. But Morgan Rielly, I mean, he's got 2 goals on the board already, and he's kind of had a struggle of a season. We talked today about Brandon Carlo coming in from Boston. I think that was a really solid move by Tree Living to bring him in. He's got a lot of experience in the playoffs, and I think he really settles Morgan Rielly down. It annoys me that everyone talks about who can we bring in to make Morgan Rielly better, and I'm always like, shouldn't Morgan Rielly make his partner better? Everyone's freaking out about who's going to make Morgan Rielly better. I mean, he's like $7.5 million defenseman. He's been an all-star. He should make anyone he plays with better, yet they're scrambling to find guys. So it's been annoying, and he hasn't been up to people's expectation this year. But whether he's getting the bounces or finding his mojo, to have 2 goals has got to give him a little bit of confidence here at the early part of this series.
Yeah, no question. How different has this club been under Craig Berube than it was under Sheldon Keefe last year? And I don't want you to say this coach is good, this is bad sort of thing, but more like there's been some maturity. I think each series they lose, there's probably some things to take away from them from the playing group. They had the weird migraines with Nylander. Matthews wasn't 100%. Wool looked great, and then he was suddenly out. Like, there's just a lot of bad luck last year in a series where I thought they did outplay Boston. But how different is this crew under Berube now?
Yeah, I think even going back to, the preseason, you could see how they're trying to establish a DNA that's a little bit different. I think that's a little bit more conducive to winning in the playoffs. And to me, the big thing is, he calls it north-south hockey, but it's those 50-50s that, this play that I want to make might be a little bit low percentage, so I'm going to avoid it. They used to make that play all day, even when the percentages were like nil. They'd make it all day. And what I've really noticed through an 82-game slate in the first 2 games of playoffs is the odd man rushes. They have numbers. They're in lanes. They're not scrambling. They're in position, and they've really tidied up, the odd man rushes going the other way. Those used to be a heyday against the Leafs, and they would try to outscore their problems and win 7-6. And we just all know that road that leads to, and they seem to have cleaned that up. They can win a game, they can score 2 goals and win 2-1 or win 3-2 in overtime. And they're doing it that way instead of trying to be fancy and having all these breakdowns and odd man rushes and the things that you just don't want to see, especially in the playoffs. They've cleaned that up so much. And I just feel like everyone, to a man, from the big boys all the way down through the D, they've adopted a mentality that I think is working for them. And I think they were sorely missing.
Power play has been unreal. Was it a matter of time with all this skill? I look back to that Boston series. They could hardly score on the power play, and here they are through 2 games. I think they got 5 power play markers more. I don't know.
Yeah, it was an anomaly, like a head scratcher. We were talking about what the problem was, but throughout the beginning part of the season, there was a good chunk of time where, they couldn't gain entry into the zone, and they tried something different every time. It was pretty clear that they were winging it. They didn't have a plan. They didn't have a structure, and we're looking at the powers that be saying, what are you guys going to do anything about this? Like you said, there's way too much talent on that first unit to do anything but damage. And it cost them their season last year. They were 5% on the power play. I think they were like a couple for 21 opportunity, like pathetic. And I'm far from a power play specialist, as you know, but it has clicked. They have found it. They have figured each other out. And, they're at the 5 forwards for the most part. And People had their question marks about that early on, but it's working. And that top line, like, Nyes and Matthews and Marner, what they don't get enough credit for is being pretty defensively responsible. And it's not as bad as it sounds when you hear 5 guys on the power play. Those guys can take care of business and cover their lanes and cover their ass and not be caught, 5 men low and whatnot. It's not blowing up in their face, and they're scoring.
LA's running a 5-man unit too, because Kuzmenko's come in and they're using Kempe Fiala, Kopitar, somebody else. It like this. I feel like the tide's kind of turning. At one point, there was 2D on every power play and just 3 forwards. And now the standard is 4 and 1, but
half the frick, we said it the other day, half the D are forwards anyway, too. So
and it's like, look, like, okay, you might allow a shorty every month, but like you got 5 guys with great offensive instincts out there. That's kind of the point of the power
just
play.
start implementing that with the kids there. Just
spring hockey, 5-man forwards.
Not even 5-man forward. Just there's no positions. Just wherever you end up play.
Positionless hockey.
Oh, everyone's a superstar. Everyone's going to score goals, and nobody has to play defense ever. I mean, that's the game plan, baby. You know that.
I don't know how much of the Oilers you've caught. Rhett has had a few. He's had a bit of a heater here, taking runs at.
They're making it so easy just to have hot takes and just rip them. It's great.
Yeah, like it's a playoffs. Like defensemen are allowed to play the body, right? Like what? I don't know. Like I'm putting you on the spot here, but we're trying to figure out what the hell Evan Bouchard is or isn't. And why it looks so bad right now, why it looks so good a playoff ago. And is it Ekholm? Is it him? Is it body language? Is he a weirdo that we're all misunderstanding? What the hell's happened here? Like he's a turnover machine that it's really hurting the Oilers. And they played 28 minutes game 1 because they're out other options.
They're missing the guys that they had last year. They got top 4 D-men there. They've lost, and they're trying to facilitate the same type of play with so much less to work with. And the guy that you were calling $11-12 million defenseman last year, I mean, he looks like his controller disconnects on the Xbox. Sometimes he's just looking and has no reaction, gets scored on. And then it looks really ugly. There's a couple of like world-class lowlights that people can't even believe what they're watching, considering it's playoff hockey. And, if you re-sign that guy to anywhere what he wants, you're going to have him and Darnell Nurse at like $18 million. When you look at the Leafs, they've got Tanev, McCabe, OEL, and Carlo coming in about $16 million. I mean, it's shocking. And I've been kind of vocal all year long, and I get the betting volume is what gets some of these lines going. But for the Edmonton Oilers to be favorites for the Stanley Cup for as long as they were this year, I think is a mockery. You're relying on 2 guys. You've lost key components of your D, and who expects Skinner to be what he was last year at certain points of the playoffs? I certainly didn't, and he's showing right now that they've sorely been missing a goaltender. So yeah, shambles for the Oilers.
Okay, I got one last one, and then we'll let you and Rhett figure out spring hockey and solve the world's problems. If the Ottawa Senators make this a long series, not a short series, because I think we've seen the formula for the short series. Leafs stay hot in the power play, get better goaltending in the Sens. How do the Sens get back in this thing? They do have home ice. They have not lost at home yet. You can use the adage you'd like. You're not in trouble till you lose at home. But tonight they're at home. They need a win. What do they have to do differently?
Well, I think scoring first is huge for them. I don't have the exact stats right in front of me, but scoring first, they have a phenomenal record, and scoring first at home, it's even better. So I think they're going to be looking for a really hot start. They need to play 60 minutes, and they need to stay out of the box. As you mentioned, they're a little bit inexperienced. I think they're real horny to be back in the playoffs and thought they were going to run the Pussy Maple Leafs out of the barn. It's just a kind of a rookie move trying to do that in the playoffs. They paraded the penalty box. Tonight, they're going to have their home fans behind them. They're going to be excited. The barn will be filled with Maple Leaf fans, too. They'll probably try to quiet them down. But I think having some of their veterans step up in leadership and show them how to play playoff hockey while staying on that side of the line so they're not parading to the box and giving that potent power play their opportunities, I think it's going to be pretty huge for them.
I think this is going to be close to 50-50 split. Maybe it's 40-60 in the rink. But if you're part of that 40% that traveled another city away, you're gonna be real.
I don't know. I'm trying to think back to the early 2000s when they were playing. I don't know.
What was it like in Buffalo when you were playing there? Because I know you had a series at the Leafs. They would cross the border for those. Could they get like a third of the barn blue? Or
no? The Sabres fans would always give up tickets when the Leafs came to town for regular season, but when we played them in the playoffs, and in '99 there was no ticket.
I was going to say
the secondary market was a little bit
90s, yeah.
Well, I think
station, yeah.
You can look back to that Canadian Tire Center. They couldn't fill it up in like 2016 or 17 for a playoff game. Pretty unbelievable. And I don't know, but compared to when I was playing for them, I feel like the Leafs fans travel even better than they used to. I don't know if that's because it's so much harder to get a ticket for to be in the Scotiabank Center or what, and they just jump on opportunities. But I mean, their second last game of the season, obviously different than a playoff game, but I was hearing their chants louder than it was. Like it's wild. You forget what building you're in when the Leafs score, when they travel and try to pack the barn. So we were talking about that this morning. Really interested to see what percentage it is blue and white, and it's going to piss some people off in Ottawa, I think, regardless.
It makes for a better environment. Like we in Calgary, there's a few annual games. It doesn't matter. You can throw the standings out. It's just once a year Montreal visits, once a year Toronto visits, a couple times a year it's Edmonton, and the Vancouver one can get to that level too. And it's just the games are just better. The fans are more invested. You feel momentum swings more. It gets the players engaged.
Wow, you know what it's like, Rosie. You go into a dead building, you hard to get the emotions up. You get into a building that's buzzing. Let's play.
Yeah, well, we did our nation vacation. We went down to Nashville and cruising down Broadway before the game, and I was like, oh my God, there's a lot of blue and white down here, and it's fun. Like we're in there, we're watching, we're rowdy. We get off to a 2-0 start. I'm looking back at these people, laughing at them, mocking them, thinking I'm in the driver's seat. They get 5 unanswered scored on them. It was horrendous, and they were piling on us so bad. It was merciless. It made it super fun, and a game at that time of the season where I don't think you would have half the energy if there wasn't that fan back and forth. That's what it's all about anyways.
It's all your fault. It's all your fault.
They
do a great job there. That's honestly, if you haven't seen a game in Nashville, I think that's a top 5 barn for how much fun you're going to have.
They do it right. And you can just step right off Broadway right into the Bridgestone Arena. It's phenomenal. There's
doesn't hurt
there. I think you guys on your Flames vacations there might be a spot to go if you haven't already.
Pinder's done a lot of damage in Nashville. It wasn't with Flames Nation, but there was issues.
Broken ribs, lost wallet, wrestling with NHL
missed a show,
puking in the lobby. Yeah, we did all right.
That sounds like Vegas for me. I promised I'll never go back. Oh, I got to hear that story sooner than later, Pinder.
We'll do it off the air, Jay. That's what we'll do.
I believe it.
Enjoy that spring hockey. Congratulate all those kids on your team of already being NHLers.
They're all going to make it, baby. They're all going to make it.
Get your agent card. You'll be representing just thousands of them. It'll be awesome.
All going to be making NHL money. They're definitely not going to be grinding in the coast for $520 a week. That's great.
All of my clients would end up in the Southern Professional League, I'm sure.
Thanks, buddy. Hey, guys, thanks for watching. Be sure to check out more of our content right here on the Flames Nation YouTube page. We had a bunch of great long-form interviews. You can check out some videos we've done as well outside of the studio. And, of course, if you want more writing or merchandise stuff, flamesnation.ca or nationgear.ca. Appreciate you watching.